Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So now, after discussing the meaning of ittihadu safaqa, the next concept is tafriqus safaqa, partiality of a transaction. So when we see the term tafriqus safaqa, it means that if there are more than one commodities or more than one quoted prices, and it is known as ittihadu safaka. Is it possible that because of multiplicity existing in ittihadu safaka in various terms, that we can break up one safaka into more than one contracts, more than one transaction? Can we break up? So this is the concept that is discovered into this term tafriqu safaqa. التفريق لا يتصور إلا في صفقة واحدة. So the jurist says that whenever you see tafriqu safaka term, so you have to understand that this means that the, basically the idea is being discussed under this term is that actually there is a one transaction. No, the question is whether we can segregate, break up, we can divide this one transaction into more than one transaction. So it is not possible. This concept is not possible without without the concept of single deal or transaction. The concept of diversity, concept of it means that the break up the deal is affiliated only with the concept of single deal or single transaction. Why this question is being raised? Because if there is more than two contracts in the very beginning, then this question cannot be asked, that whether there will be partiality of transaction, because initially they are partial, initially they are separated. So this question is actually raised when the contracts are added into one transaction. So then this question is being raised, that tafriqu safaqa. Okay, what is the meaning of tafriqu safaqa? Tafriqu ma ishtarahu fi akdin wahidin. So break up the deal. What is the meaning of it? That break up what person bought under one contract. So this is the known the thing, that can we is break up the deal. How we can break up the deal? For example, if person says that I sell you my this commodity for this price and this commodity for this price, because he sold two items in one transaction for separated prices or for a single price. For example, I sold my this commodity and this commodity to you for one quoted single price. So now the question is, because the next person is going to buy it in single transaction, is it allow for us to partial to break up that deal into two deals? Can we say that? So this is the meaning of tafriqus safaqa. Okay. तो बुनियादी तौर पर यहाँ पर मकसद ये है कि क्या एक जो दो चीजें या दो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट एक ही बार में जमा किए गए एक ही सौदे में, क्या हम ये कह सकते हैं कि ये एक्चुअली दो सौदे हैं, अलग अलग हैं? क्या अलग अलग हैं तो इसका मतलब है बायर को ये इजाजत है कि वो एक को छोड़कर दूसरे के अंदर कॉन्ट्रैक्ट कर ले? एक्चुअली इस बहस का मकसद ही ये है कि क्या ऐसा हो सकता है कि नहीं हो सकता। तो इस तसव्वुर को हम कहते हैं तफरीकुस सफाका। Okay. The next is was-safaqatu iza waqat mujtami'atan min al-ba'i la yamliku al-mushtari tafriqaha qabla at-tamam. So it means that when a transaction is executed collectively by a seller from seller side, and seller said that I sold you this commodity and this commodity for this price, or just for one price. Uh, so it means that he actually executed one transaction. He made offer uh, adding two more than one commodities. Then it then the buyer is not allowed. Then the buyer is not allowed to divide it by partially accepting, saying that I just buy this commodity, not that commodity. So he is not allowed to do that before completion of the contract. After completion of the contract, he is allowed, but in the case of defect, partially defect, if he he accepted, he bought two commodities, then later he found there was a defect in one commodity, then he will be given option that is known as khiyar. Then he will be given right of option to partially reduce the price or to partially reject the price. He can give the commodity back to the owner, back to the seller. Then this will be considered that no, this is the friku safaka, that is the situation possible. But before execution, before completing that contract, buyer is not allowed to partially accept the contract. Why? Because we have already discussed, the jurist says that it will be harming for the seller. If it was not harming, then the seller himself make the separate offers in very beginning of the contract कि भी अगर उस फिरोख्त करने वाले को नुकसान ना हो तो फिर वो खुद ही इब्तदा के अंदर दो चीजों को अलग अलग ऑफर करता। आखिर उसके अपना कोई जहन में था तो जिसकी वजह से उसने दो चीजों को एक साथ बेचने की ऑफर की। तो इस वजह से बायर को हम ये इख्तियार नहीं देते कि वो अक्द मुकम्मल होने से पहले पहले वो ये कहे कि मैं जनाब ये खरीदता हूं और ये नहीं खरीदता, उसको ये कहने की इजाजत नहीं होगी। Okay, the next one is Tafriqu Safakat's next situation is that An yakun al Kabulu. An yakun al Kabulu muwafiqan lil ijab. So this is the reasoning. That why? An yakun al Kabulu muwafiqan lil ijab. بأن يقبل المشتري ما أوجبه البائع وبما أوجبه. So it means that actually what is the principle in offer and acceptance? The basic principle of offer and acceptance is here being discussed, and this is that when offerer makes his offer, the juristic and the Islamic law principle says that acceptance must be compliant to the offer. It should be compliant to the offer. यानी ईजाब करने वाले ने जिस बारे में जिन अल्फाज में जो ईजाब किया है, दूसरा फरीक उस ईजाब के मुताबिक ही कबूल करेगा। उस ईजाब के मुखालिफ जाकर कबूल करेगा तो फिर वो सिरे से कॉन्ट्रैक्ट ही नहीं होगा। बेअन यकबिल अल मुश्तरी के मुश्तरी कबूल करे मा औजबहुल बाए, जिसके ऊपर बाए ने फिरोख्त करने वाले ने ईजाब किया है, व बेमा औजबहु, या जिस कीमत के ऊपर उसने जो है वो ईजाब किया है, कीमत भी वही रहेगी और क्या कहते हैं कि भाई जो जिस चीज के ऊपर उसने ईजाब किया है वही ईजाब ही रहेगा, अगर तो कबूल उसके मुवाफिक हुआ तो ठीक। So this basic principle says that when offerer made an offer, then the acceptance from the second party buyer that must be compliant to the seller. For example, if seller said that I sold this my mobile for 50,000 rupee to you, so this is the offer. If buyer says okay I bought it for 30,000 rupee, no, it is not compliant to the offer of the offerer seller. Why? Because he quoted the price 50,000. So he is accepting other than the offer. Same as if he said that no, I bought your watch, I bought your laptop for 50,000 rupee. So again, this offer, this acceptance is against the offer. It is not compliant to the offer. Why? Because offer was made for mobile, not for laptop. So that is the case actually in Islamic law says when an offerer makes an offer, then the acceptance from the buyer or the other party should be or the must be in line with the compliant to the offer of the offerer. Okay. The next is that فَإِنْ خَالَفَهُ, if he, the buyer, opposed, he accepted against his offer, how? In a way that the buyer accepted other than what the seller has offered, or partially accepted, or he mentioned another subject matter, then all in these cases the contract will not be considered executed. Why? Because offerer did not make an offer initially regarding the subject matters, regarding the price, what the actually buyer is going to accept. If he will, if he makes his acceptance compliant to the uh, compliant to the offer of the offerer, then we will say that no, the contract is executed actually. No, it is the will be considered the compliant acceptance. So that is the reason when in ittihadu safaka the seller makes an offer that I sell my this commodity and this commodity for one price, or I sell my this commodity for this price and this commodity for this price, and he adds more than two commodities in one transaction, then buyer is not allowed to partially break up this transaction, because if he will do that, then uh, his acceptance will be considered opposite to the or the against the principles of offer and acceptance, because his acceptance is not compliant to the offer. So that is why offer will be considered nullified and the contract will cannot be considered the executed. If he want to partially, then he have to request to the seller that he should make an other offer, not to add other commodity in that offer, then he will buy it, then they can enter the contract and other contract. But in case of ittihadu safaka, tafriqu safaka is not allowed.